everyone. It's Georgia Weidman, author of Penetration Testing, a Hands-On Introduction to Hacking, and your instructor for this accompanying lab. So this time we're going to take a look at pivoting, but we are going to be able to break out of Metasploit. In the last one, we were stuck with Metasploit modules, which isn't necessarily such a bad thing. Metasploit can do a lot, but let's see what happens if we are able to also bring in additional tools outside of Metasploit, like Nmap, Hydra, things like that. Alright, so, the usual IP adder. If we Nmap it, our target, it's our, at this point, it's the usual ones. Finding vulnerabilities and whatnot we did earlier. Really, we're focusing on the post-exploitation here. Yeah, it's Samba, so it's going to be that is known pipe name one. So use exploit Linux Samba and is known pipe name. Show our options. We just need to set our hosts to our target.3. Go ahead and exploit it. We get our command shell. Again, do an IP adder here. We see, this is the IP that we attacked, but it also, just like the last one, is dual homed and has another IP address for another network. So we can go ahead, Control Z to background. Like the last time, if we want to use the auto route, we do need to upgrade this to Meterpreter. So sessions-u for upgrade, and this is session 1. So since we already have a foothold on the system, it is able to, basically upload a Meterpreter payload for the target and run it. So that's what happens here. We do get our second session. Now we can, just like we did last time, set up that auto route. So use post multi manage auto route. Show our options on this one. We just need to set the session as 2. We want that Meterpreter session, not the regular command shell. And set the subnet. And it is by default set to a /24, which is what this is. You could change the net mask if you run into something that isn't a /24. Go ahead and exploit. That adds that route. So this gets us up to where we were in the last one, but this time, like I said, I want to be able to run things outside of Metasploit. So what I can do is set up a SOCKS proxy. So we kind of saw something similar before, way back in the course, where we ran into a squid proxy, and we used the proxy change tool to send things through that squid proxy and get access to the local interface on a box. In this case, we're going to use a proxy to route traffic outside of Metasploit into Metasploit, which will allow it to use these routes. So SOCKS for a, so it's an auxiliary, so use auxiliary server SOCKS for a. And if we show our options here, so all this is just a proxy. We do need to change the server port. The default on here is 1080. The default for proxy chains is 9050. I mean, you could change the port in proxy chains config file instead if you wanted to, but we're in Metasploit, so why not? So set server port to 9050 and exploit. So now we're running a server. So let's just let me prove it to you. If we do a netstat LNTP, there's a lot of different flags for, I usually use ANTP, but this works. Different flags for netstat, and they have netstat for Windows too, which has completely different flags. Like on Windows, I always end up doing A and O. So I mean, I think the bulk of my not remembering the right flags issue comes down to netstat. So we do have something in Ruby. running on 9050 Ruby. Metasploit runs Ruby, so yeah, our proxy should be running. All right, so from there we can just clear this. And so if we put proxy chains in front of any of our commands, it will run it through that SOX proxy, and that will bring us into Metasploit, which will allow those routes to take effect. So this does allow us to run tools outside of Metasploit through that Metasploit route, which is pretty cool. So if we do like in map, let's just do -st against our new target, because our new target is going to be .3 on that new subnet. Make sure that is the second subnet. And this is something that I forget, and a lot of people forget. Actually, for reasons that they teach you in networking class, I'm sure the ping probe will not go through the proxy. So we actually just need to tell it ping no, which, everything's going to be a little bit slower through the proxy chain because it has to make all these extra steps. But we're only hitting one box here, so we're basically just telling it not to ping. It even tells us when it says, hey, if it's really up, do ping no. All it finds that's open on this is SSH. There actually is no known security vulnerability on this one. What it wants us to do actually is crack the password for this. So we're going to actually send Hydra through our proxy. So in your lab manual, what it has you do is, if you go to user share word lists, there's a lot of word lists. We've seen them in the password cracking section. But the one it has you use, and it's certainly not going to be the only one in here that has this password because it's not a really good one. It has you use leaked databases. It has you use rocku40.txt from user share word list seclist passwords leaked database. Again, this isn't going to be the only word list on here that has the right password, but basically to speed it up so I don't have to sit here and, you guys have seen it. Me sitting here having nothing to say is not fun. So I actually put the correct password just before I started the video. Basically, this is not going to be on yours. If I go back to root, I have password.txt that has the right password in it just so it'll be faster. The main problem with this is, so if we do a Hydra -h, and this is not Hydra specific, this is going to be a lot of the tools that you're going to run into. -t for tasks, it's how many connections in parallel it's going to make. And just because, this, you could always overwhelm anything, but just because there's so many parts in play, it's really, really possible that you can overwhelm the connection and end up losing your interpreter session. The default is 16 connections, which may not seem like that many, but it's all kind of routing weird. So in your lab manual, it has you set the -t to 4 to slow it down. So that will make it slower. It'll make less connections in parallel, but that'll make it a lot less likely to overwhelm your proxy and lose your session or other horrible things. But because of that will make it take a while. And again, you guys don't want to see me ad-lib for an hour. So I'm going to kind of cheat and have the right password, but the password is in many of the word lists, including the one in the lab manual. So again, we want to call it through proxy chains, call Hydra. If you don't remember Hydra, it has, nice help information here. We want to log in as root. And again, this is where mine differs from yours because I'm just going to put password.txt here as the password file instead of the one it gave you in the lab manual. Again, that's just for speed reasons. And I don't want to lose my session in the video because this is not the first time I've tried to shoot this today. And then we want to tell it where we want to go, which is .3, and the service is SSH. And very, very quickly in my case, a little bit slower in your case if you use that word list or another one, it comes up, the password is 12345678990. So, they basically just went like that across the number keys. All right, so then I want to do a proxy chains and log in. over SSH. So I want to proxy change SSH root at our target is, and our password, which we just found, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 0. And that logs me in. If you get an error that says something like the banner is too long or something, like try it a couple times. It can, with these things that are interactive, they can get out of sequence, like through Metasploit. I mean, it's not perfect. This is pretty amazing that it can do this, but you know, occasionally something might go wrong. Just try it again if you get that error. I did the first time I did it. You just have to try again. Anyway, you know, we can cat flag.txt from there. So the real cool thing about this is, you know, we built on what we did last time, and this allowed us to pull, I mean, really anything. I mean, it's going to be real slow, and you're going to have to like tune it down really hard, but you can even run like vulnerability scanners through this thing. You can do all sorts of stuff. So by adding that SOX proxy, we can pull all this stuff outside of Metasploit. So we're not just limited to Metasploit. I mean, like I said, Metasploit can do pretty much anything, but you know, we've got tools outside of Metasploit that we can use now. So that's another pivoting example, and I'll see you guys next time.